Council President, I have also prepared a statement that I'd like to share as it's become kind of public what has happened at the executive meeting on Thursday. So, first, I wanted to thank everyone, including the mayor, Brian Marshall, the chief, and borough manager, as well as many members of you out in the community who have reached out to me via text, email, phone, and in person for the words of encouragement and support that I received since Thursday night. It's made a big difference to me following a difficult experience. And I especially want to thank Ryan Berry for his presence of mind and his courage to walk out when Mr. Riddle began to yell personal insults at me. The fact is, Thursday night's executive session was not the first time I have been on the receiving end of Mr. Riddle's tirade. I have been repeatedly targeted since I joined council, and everyone on council knows it. There is, in fact, a pervasive bullying mentality and culture on this council. You may have wondered how a person like Mr. Riddle was ever even voted to the position of council president in January instead of someone else. Well, that was my first glimpse of what was to come. When someone else simply considered having me as part of a committee that they hold too dear, he faced the repercussions. And even today, I'm not sure that he has fully recovered from those harsh repercussions. As with most bullies and their targets, Mr. Riddle doesn't know me at all. We have never had a one-on-one conversation. We have never worked on a committee together. He simply targeted me at the onset and has repeatedly undermined and insulted me since I joined council. When I made any request of our former borough manager, Mr. Riddle would give a direct order to not fulfill my request. At an executive session in April, Mr. Riddle sat with his back towards me as I presented research and analysis that Mr. Berry and I had spent hours upon hours preparing. Then he yelled and screamed insults at us. He has called me a viper, the enemy, corrupt, poison, the worst thing that has happened to this town. All of my colleagues, including the solicitor, have witnessed Mr. Riddle's attacks on me. But unfortunately, politics and the power of a vote sometimes carry greater weight than human decency or doing the right thing. So Thursday's executive session was no exception. During the session, we would interview a candidate for borough manager and then discuss. Unhappy with the outcome of the search committee's process, and remind you, I was not and have never been the chair of that committee. Mr. Riddle unleashed his rage on me. He yelled insults at me and called on me to resign. With the exception of Mr. Berry, bystander apathy once again took hold of my colleagues. Mr. Berry and I walked out of the meeting. The others continued on with their meeting for about another 30 minutes. So let me ask you, if you were Mr. Riddle, would you change your behavior? So it comes as no surprise that Mr. Riddle is not here this evening. It is a common call in his playbook. When his behavior becomes public, don't take any accountability and just lay low until the dust settles. But when his vote is needed, we will most likely see him emerge again. But I certainly hope that I am wrong, and I hope that my colleagues will help drive the culture change that is needed on council. I hope they will lead with integrity and do the right thing, even when no one is watching. I would like to submit this for the record.